That's the question to ponder on through the rest of this first quarter in 2024. If you come across this video at a later date, it came to you at exactly the right time. And your homework is simply to think about if you were drawing up yourself as an avatar, as the CEO in your business, what would truly show up on there? Because we write about the biases on our ideal client avatars. Do you know your own biases so that you can compensate for them, so that you can incorporate them, so that you can honor them, and you can utilize them in a way that becomes productive rather than counterproductive? Because if you don't acknowledge them, they're just going to hold you back. They're going to continue holding you back because that is your shadow work.
Before we get started, this is your friendly reminder to take some super simple actions. When you like, share, and subscribe to my videos here on YouTube, it really helps me grow my channel. But more importantly, you're actually helping me learn more about what you want. So don't forget to do that before we finish today's video. Thanks for being sensible, being woo, but most of all, being you.
Hello, everybody. It is so cold today. And I was like, before the rain starts moving in again, I'm gonna get out for a walk. It is not yet spring. We had fake spring earlier. Today, I want to talk about a really interesting phenomenon that's crept up. It starts out having to do with judgments based on appearance. But when I dug into it more, I really started to feel like this has a lot to do with the way we are or are not processing information for our business as well right now. We're going to test how good this windscreen is today. Here we go. So the topic came up in a non-business situation about people appearing to be young. And the question was, are they qualified? It really got me thinking about my own coaching practice in my business. I realized that today is the perfect day to record this because I'm wearing pigtails in my hair. And I thought, of all the hairstyles to wear, this is maybe not the most age maturing hairstyle, but it is completely my choice. So the feedback that I have heard in the past is, wow, you look so young. I thought you were, insert an age, usually somewhere between 26 and 35. Newsflash, I am in my mid-40s. You couldn't pay me to do my 30s or 20s over again. What I've started to piece together is that there have definitely been potential clients in the past who have actively chosen not to work with me because they think I'm too young. But they've never actually asked. They don't know the truth. And it has me thinking, as a librarian, how are people processing the information coming to them on an everyday basis? Because I suspect that many of us, myself included, have made perhaps some not great decisions in the past based on not factual judgment calls. While you are making all kinds of important decisions, do you have the information you need? What is the thing that is going unspoken that would be kind of like a social taboo to ask about, like someone's age? But if you knew that information, it would help you make the decision better. And then to ask yourself, does that piece of data matter? Does it matter? Does it matter how old the person is? Does it matter what their gender is? Does it matter what their gender expression is? As an LGBT business owner, I would argue that none of those things should matter. And for me, I'm utilizing the age example just because it comes up a lot with me. I'm very thankful to my parents for extremely good genetics. I will probably look like I'm 12 until I turn 80. That's kind of the running joke. But it really does bring up a really valuable piece of data about yourself as you are processing information for your business. Because I have seen a rather disturbing trend lately, especially female entrepreneurs, and they are steadily losing articles of clothing in their social content and on their videos and in their pictures that they use on websites, and I am all for body positivity and for reclaiming your sexual expression, however that shows up for you. And also, why is it that these visual judgments continue to become a major source of how you're processing the data coming to you for really important decisions about services and products that you need in order to truly grow your business? So I'll tell you, after having dealt with so much information in my professional life and in my personal life, I definitely see how much people are overwhelmed by the information coming at them. It's simply our modern age, the times we live in. Personally, I would rather have more information than not enough. Do you think it's really important that you make sure that you are super clear for yourself about what are the things that matter to you? We spend so much time in our businesses figuring out who's our ideal client avatar. What do they drink for coffee in the morning? What are their favorite colors? And I would ask yourself, can you draw up an ideal CEO profile for yourself? Do you know yourself? Do you know how you make decisions? Do you know how much time it takes for you to make decisions? Do you know if it matters that somebody is visually pleasing to the eye? You don't have to share that information with everybody, but if that measurement matters to you, you do need to know it for yourself. And I see this especially with women that I have worked with over the years. My audience has traditionally been very female. I have a lot more men in my audience lately than I have previously, which I find a really interesting shift for my own business. Don't know what it means yet, but I do notice with my female audience members that for the women over 50, if they believe, based off appearance, that I am possibly in my 20s or early 30s, a lot of times they want to say no. And when they find out that I am actually closer in age to them, they suddenly relax. If these kinds of demographic markers are that important to you for making decisions when you're processing information in your business for your business development, that is when you need to figure out ways to articulate that so that you get the answers you need to help you make those decisions, and also so that you're doing it in a way where you're not being a jerk because you don't want to be a jerk because you're a good person. So how do we do that? Like, that's the really big question. How do we do that? And it's going to take time and practice. Remember, you are your best system. You are your number one system. So if this is you as a system expressing yourself, chances are that is showing up in your ideal client avatar as well. You are already solving a marketing problem, and it's showing up in you. And one of the things as a business librarian that I love pointing out to people is how we consume our information. I find most people consume a lot of their business data truly on autopilot. It's kind of unfortunate because if we gave ourselves permission to acknowledge those judgy judgments and say, okay, but what do I need to do with that? What do I need to do with that? Instead of dismissing a great service provider or someone's content that might really help you, why would you turn down the answer that helps you solve your problem if you have access to that answer, and instead give up access to the answer because of an unresolved emotional need to scratch an itch about a demographic requirement that helps you feel safe, that helps you feel seen, that helps you feel heard and acknowledged? This is where we get into that business therapy part of the Venn diagram. And if you find that you can't get beyond these demographic requirements and they are genuinely holding you back in your business, that's a big red flag for yourself. That's a big red flag. That's when you say, I need to stop, drop, and roll right now. I need to call my therapist. I need to talk to them. And I need to get to the root of what this is, because that thing is the thing that's holding you back. You can take as many manifestation courses as you want. You can sign up for as many tarot reading newsletters for your business like mine as you want. And none of the answers in there are going to help you in the way that you need to help yourself. I have been making a big prediction in my reading practice and my channeling practice for the people who are on my list. If you want to get on that list, the links are in the video description below the video. There's a free tarot and Akashic reading every week. It goes out on Saturday mornings. And then I've got a membership group on Sunday mornings that receives extended readings for their business. But a space like that won't feel good. You won't feel like you're getting your money's worth. You won't feel like you're making progress if there are these unresolved emotional markers in yourself that are creating a lot of friction. And you'll see the friction show up in so many places, in so many ways. You'll see it show up in your networking contacts. You'll see the pattern having shown up in other masterminds or groups that you've belonged to. You'll see it show up in your personal buying decisions, whether you're purchasing something out of an aspirational thing, like, oh, I hope someday I look like her, or out of a reactionary thing, like, oh, I can't possibly learn from somebody that old or that young. And so you go and buy the other thing where it didn't resonate with you from the get-go. When we talk about the intersection of sensible and woo, this is what we're talking about. It's not super sexy. It's not. It's like super logical. It's super obvious. And I'm seeing it show up more and more and more. So in my weekly readings, the prediction that has been coming through is how much we are going to be asked to solve this within ourselves, not outside of ourselves, but within ourselves this year, because it's time, because we have to, because as a collective, we also can't advance forward if we don't figure this out. That's the question to ponder on through the rest of this first quarter in 2024. If you come across this video at a later date, it came to you at exactly the right time. And your homework is simply to think about, if you were drawing up yourself as an avatar, as the CEO in your business, what would truly show up on there? Because we write about the biases on our ideal client avatars. Do you know your own biases so that you can compensate for them, so that you can incorporate them, so that you can honor them, and you can utilize them in a way that becomes productive rather than counterproductive? Because if you don't acknowledge them, they're just going to hold you back. They're going to continue holding you back, because that is your shadow work. The integration of your biases is the work. Capital T, capital W. It's the work. And you all know how I feel about shadow work. I don't think it's shadow work. I think it's just the work. So if you like digging into this kind of stuff, you can join me in my newsletter. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to hit like, share, and subscribe. I will see you next time. Be sensible, be woo. Always be you. It's really freaking cold out here today. I'm really glad I got out for a walk and then I recorded a talk so I could say hi to y'all. Well, I gotta get back in my car. It's so cold.